Welcome back, my fellow Bassaholics. I'm Gene Delasala, president of Audioholics.
I'm Shane Rich, technical director of RBH Sound.
Shane, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Good to be with you, Gene.
What is this giant box we have here? Is it a refrigerator? Are we going to pull out some beers? What's going on with this?
Well, yeah, I don't think you'll be pulling anything liquid out of this box, although it is almost that big. It is our new I-12 or I-12E for the Elite version subwoofer.
It's time to get some serious bass going here. This looks like it's got hardware to do it.
Yes.
Why don't we undress her and see what's under the hood? Oh, so we got this big driver here moving. We got some tones going through. So tell us about the driver. Tell us about the enclosure.
Okay. Well, to meet the always ongoing demands of more and lower bass, we've decided in this impression subwoofer to go with a driver that we have been using in our RBH line of products for several years. This is our 12-inch aluminum cone driver. It has a stamp basket and 2-inch voice coil. It is an interesting driver because it can be used in sealed and vented enclosure. The QTS of the driver is such that it actually works quite well either way. So, and you have the option of using it vented or sealed in this subwoofer. We include the plugs that can go into the port so that you can actually seal up the enclosure.
You guys don't see it right now because from the front it looks like a sealed sub, but in actuality there's three 3-inch ports.
Yes,
So you have a combination of tuning modes. Either you leave all three open for maximum extension, or you plug, one or two of them?
Well, it's actually, all three open for maximum output, and then you start plugging the ports if you want more extension. But honestly, I think most people will be plenty happy with all three ports open for maximum output and then setting it near a back wall. Because with the ports on the back, you actually have more output capability due to the natural reinforcement of the port near the wall.
Right, I got you. So you have two versions. You have is it the E or I-12?
The I-12.
I-12 and the I-12E. What are the differences between them?
Well, just amplifier power. The I-12 has the 350 watt amp. The I-12E has the 500 watt amplifier, and there's a difference not only in power, but there is a little more EQ on the I-12E to get that added output at the lowest frequencies.
I gotcha. So off the top of your head, I'm sure you pulled some measurements and you're well aware of how we measure subwoofers by now. Mm-hmm. What kind of Bassaholic rating do you think this is going to get?
Well, I'm sure it will get the large rating at least, and we figure that even though it's a fairly large subwoofer, given its realistic and relatively low cost, we think it's going to be just a great value for the dollar. It starts with the I-12 at $499, and the I-12E comes in at $699.
So it looks like you're really targeting the Internet Direct crowd, huh?
Yes. Although it is still available through our dealer network as well.
Awesome. And I think we need to get this puppy outside and do some real testing and see what it does.
Yeah, definitely. I think you'll be impressed.
Excellent. So tell me, what's the warranty on the subwoofer? What's if a person wants to buy it Internet Direct, what's your return policy?
Well, they have 30 days, of course, to evaluate the sub, and we have a 2-year warranty on the amplifier, 5-year warranty on the sub as a whole.
Excellent. Well, guys, we are going to go and put it to the test. We're going to take it outside and see if we can, make some people nauseous with our sweep tones.
Great. Yeah. I think that this is really going to meet a lot of people's requirements as far as not only bass quantity, but quality. Again, as I mentioned, this can be used also as a sealed sub, and while it may not play as low, this is just a great driver. It's not a real huge massive driver that is going to be somewhat tubby sounding, requires a real large amount of power to move a lot of air,
Right.
at lower sensitivity. This is a driver that has higher sensitivity, but is also has a very compliant suspension, so that you get the very finest details in the bass as well. Very tight and accurate sounding.
Well, that's important because we do want quality, not just quantity. I mean, it's
Right.
best when you have both. So, and it sounds like you prefer to listen to it in sealed mode, especially for music, right?
I will tell you, I was really happily surprised with what we were getting with it in a sealed configuration. Although I think still most people will probably still want to use it obviously vented for theater use at the very lowest frequencies, where they're wanting maximum output for theater and still really good extension. But there may be some out there that prefer a sealed sub design, and this certainly meets that criteria for a really tight, accurate sealed sub. And given the size of the enclosure, you still get really good low frequency extension.
Well, especially if you have a lot of room gain, you still get a very gradual roll off with a sealed sub.
Absolutely.
12 dB per octave, so you can still get a lot of gain. Don't sell yourself short on sealed, because you can still get some really good low frequency extension as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, if you look at the curves, and I think we've sent you some information on those curves, and I'm sure you'll pull your own, but you'll probably see that at 20 hertz you have about the same amount of output ported versus sealed. It's just the overall shape of the curve and where the 3 dB down point is.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm going to go call up Hugo because I think he's spending too much time in the gym these days. I'm going to have him come here, pick this 80-pound sub up, 70-pound. How much is it weigh?
I think it's right around 70 pounds.
I'm going to have him pick it up and do some bench presses down my steps, bring it outside, and we're going to set it up and do some bench tests. And put the proof to the pudding, put the pedal to the metal, do some measurements, and see what kind of bassaholic rating it gets. So stay tuned. Hey folks, here we are. We just had that nice interview with Shane Rich from RBH Sound on the I-12E subwoofer. And we found Hugo.
I was doing some curls, man.
He was doing curls. He's ready to terminate this subwoofer.
This looks really good, man.
I expect big things out of this big package here.
If it sounds half as good as it looks, I think it should be okay.
I think we're going to be good. So basically we're going to do the same kind of ground plane technique. This sub's a little different because you got a driver in the front, you got 3 ports in the back. I'm probably going to move the mic out a little bit more, probably 1.5 meters, maybe 2 meters. And we're going to measure, and we're going to measure the various port modes, because there's 3 ports. We could plug 1 port, or we could plug all 3 ports. And what that's going to do is change the frequency response of the subwoofer. We're going to turn it from a ported sub to a sealed sub. And depending on your room and how it integrates in your room, you're going to want to play with this. So without further ado, let's do some sweeps.
Yeah, let's check this out.
Let's shake some neighbor houses.
That too.
All right, guys, we'll see you soon. All right, so Shane, do you have any questions you want to ask our fellow bassaholics here about what they want to see in a subwoofer?
Well, I think it's always interesting to know what people would like to see in a product, especially in our product line. with the impression line that we're doing, which has been available online, we have only had a couple of subs in that line so far. So we'd just be curious to see what your take is on this. If this is what you are really wanting to see, or if some people have said, well, it's a little bit large. You say yes, but wait till you hear it. You'll see there's method to the madness. But some people do prefer a smaller sub, and so it would be interested to hear what people's opinions are on it.
That's right. Well, guys, we're going to go check it out. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll give you more updates on how this thing performs. And in any event, keep listening.